Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What words? What words are this? Holy Lord Yaoguang angrily scolded the old guys beside him. This Saint Lord is pleased. I am pleased that our holy land will become more powerful in the future. Besides, what do you old guys do for a living? Over the years, you have trained such an outstanding disciple as Zixiao. One by one you have no ambition to make progress all day long. Apart from playing cards, you are looking for girls with spirit stones. Do you have any business? If you continue like this, sooner or later our Yaoguang Holy Land will be destroyed by you. Bullshit, Yaoguang Holy Lord just said after he finished speaking. The palace master next to him immediately said in a low voice, "Didn't you take us to find the girl? I tell you, if you keep talking like this, I will tell my wife tomorrow, you." Hee, no problem, junior brother, why are you so angry? At most, I will invite you to go to the two heavens tomorrow. That when he heard that the other party was going to tell his wife about his finding a girl, the Holy Lord Yaoguang changed his expression at that time, just like he said before, like a chrysanthemum, whoosh. Just when a few disrespectful guys were chatting, a sound of breaking through the air was heard. Disciples Wei Yuanfei, following the order of the Holy Lord, will take Taiji. No, take Lingxiao Palace's junior uncle, please come in. Boom, the palace gates slowly opened, and a peaceful atmosphere came towards them. Then, looking around, there were countless disciples. They were very curious about Zixiao. The palace masters and elders of the Yaoguang Holy Land all looked at the palace gate with curiosity. They seemed to want to see the evildoer who had recently gained fame. Zixiao was not surprised by such a scene. After all, he is the eldest brother of the younger generation of Tianxian Holy Land. He has seen many such scenes before. Zixiao and Zui Yuanfei fell from the flying boat. At this time, Zixiao was wearing a loose black robe, which was slightly open at the chest, revealing his muscular chest. His long purple-silver hair was tied up by a silver crown, and a few strands of hair were scattered in front of his forehead. He had a strange Dao rhythm surrounded the surroundings, as if the 3,000 Daos were suppressed by it. Is this the eldest brother Zixiao of Tianxian Holy Land? Are you an idiot? Now he is the junior uncle of our Yaoguang Holy Land. Ah, it would be nice if I could become the disciple of the Supreme Elder. Dream on, dreams are full of everything. By the way, isn't this kind of man too foul? Sisters, I'm going first. You are ugly, but you have beautiful thoughts. Let me do it. Faced with Zixiao's arrival, the originally quiet hall suddenly became noisy. Everyone was young, so of course they couldn't hold back. Hold on to your curiosity. Some of the brave female disciples even flirted with Zixiao, almost offering themselves to him. The high-ranking officials of Yaoguang Holy Land were the same, with no intention of treating him as a senior. They stared at him like vicious wolves. They looked at Zixiao, as if they wanted to eat him. What's more, some mature and plump elders twisted their waists a few times. This made Zixiao feel like he was going to Qingfeng Tower. No, is this a holy place or a brothel? Little did they know that all this was because of the charm aura. Zixiao, who originally had an extraordinary temperament and handsome face, became tang monk meat in the eyes of the opposite sex. People of the same sex will also have a good impression of him. The middle-aged man sitting on the chair in the front, wearing a golden outfit, is extremely flashy. He is probably the Holy Lord Yaoguang. Thinking of this, Zixiao walked forward and bowed, saying, "I am Zixiao, meeting Saint Yaoguang." No need to be polite. No need to be polite. Before Zixiao finished speaking, his eyes blurred and Saint Yaoguang the Lord actually came directly in front of him. Not only the Holy Lord Yaoguang, but also the palace master sitting beside him. The Holy Lord Yaoguang kept looking at Zixiao in front of him, and even showed a mysterious smile. This smile made Zixiao feel nauseous, and he wanted to punch the other person in the face. After a while, the Holy Lord Yaoguang finally spoke. "Zixiao, you are mine from now on. Junior brother, you don't need to be polite when you see me. Why call me Saint Lord? Just call me senior brother." Zixiao was a little overwhelmed by Saint Lord Yaoguang's enthusiasm. The beautiful Taoist nun next to him walked up to him. He pushed the Holy Lord Yaoguang away and gave him a cold look. You scared me, little junior brother. Junior brother, be good. I am your second senior sister. Since you have already worshipped Uncle Piao Miao as your master, we will be a family from now on. Don't look at your senior brother's frivolous appearance, but don't worry, if anyone dares to bully you, it means they are against our entire Yaoguang holy land. Hello, senior sister, hello, senior brother. Zi Xiao said to the two respectfully, seeing that Zi Xiao was so easy to talk to, all the shameless old men on the side surrounded him. Little junior brother, I am your senior brother Lu. I have been in the alchemy palace. You can find me if you have any questions. Little junior brother, I am your senior sister Lu. Little junior brother. The people around introduced themselves to Zi Xiao one after another, fearing that Zi Xiao would forget them. During their introduction, Zi Xiao also roughly understood the general information of Yaoguang Holy Land. The most central Saint Lord Palace is the main hall belonging to the Saint Lord. The 10 palaces surrounding the main hall are the core palace masters of the Yaoguang Holy Land, that is, Zi Xiao's senior brothers and sisters. Although the other thousands of palace masters sound equal to the core palace masters, in fact, the real decision-makers are still the Saint Lord and the 10 core people. It is roughly the same as the internal forces of the Tianxian Holy Land. These senior brothers and sisters are extremely enthusiastic and keep stuffing things into Zi Xiao's arms, some stuffing pills, some stuffing magic weapons, and some skills, etc. This scene makes the core disciples standing below envious, but they are just envious, and there is no other emotion. After all, Zi Xiao is one generation higher than them in terms of seniority. Seeing that everyone had finished greeting, Yaoguang's Saint Lord walked to the front and said to the disciples below, Today, young genius came to my Yaoguang Holy Land. Even if I don't tell you, you should know about him. Now he has become a disciple of the Supreme Elder, which means he is the uncle of you disciples. From today on, I declare that Zi Xiao is the master of Taiji. No, the master of Lingxiao Palace. Oh. The disciples below cheered, for no other reason. It was because of Zi Xiao's terrifying reputation outside. Use your soul to fight against the Holy King. Even those ancient geniuses, descendants of the Forbidden Area, or young masters of the Demon Clan, probably don't have this strength. In addition to talent, being able to become a core disciple is a sense of belonging to the sect. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After all, you can't waste resources to train an ungrateful person, so all the tens of thousands of core disciples looked at Zi Xiao with a burning look on their faces. Palace Master. Zi Xiao was a little confused. Aren't the others called Palace Masters? Why was he the only one called Palace Master? Junior brother. Sister Lu, who was standing by, heard Zi Xiao's murmur, smiled knowingly, and quickly explained, This hall master is completely different from the palace master. Wasn't your palace called Taiji Hall before? That was the magic weapon passed down to our senior brother by the previous Saint Lord. You should have known that the magic weapon can change its appearance at will. A palace of the holy level is a very rare thing. So, anyone who can live in it will be called a hall master. The hall master is second only to the Saint Lord in my Yaoguang Holy Land, and in a sense, he is on the same level as the Saint Lord. After hearing Sister Lu's explanation, Zi Xiao was confused. He was on the same level as the Saint Lord of Yaoguang Holy Land right away. Wasn't he named the Son of God? Zi Xiao was still very confident in his own strength. He thought he would become the Son of God, but he didn't expect to be a hall master directly. This is not good. Zi Xiao smiled bitterly. Are you so high profile right after arriving at Yaoguang Holy Land? You know, the higher you are praised, the harder you will fall. What's wrong with this? After hearing Zi Xiao's words, the Holy Lord of Yaoguang turned around and said solemnly, Junior brother, you must understand that under normal circumstances, I feel that it is unfair to give you the position of Holy Son for a peerless genius like you. Besides, you have already become a disciple of the Supreme Elder. As the elder of those disciples, it is a bit strange to be named Holy Son. Since you call me your senior brother, we are a family. Let alone a hall master, even if you want the position of Holy Lord, I can immediately abdicate and let you take over. Zixiao didn't know what to say. He even felt that his script had changed since he came to this Yaoguang Holy Land. This must be the wrong script. The villain doesn't look like a villain, and the son of destiny doesn't look like a son of destiny. After all, he got such an honor without any setbacks. It can be said that he was too smooth, and he was named the Hall Master, and there were some arrogant core disciples below him. Didn't any of them question it? It would be fine if they didn't question it, but what does that burning look in their eyes mean? That's it, that the beautiful Taoist nun, Zixiao's second sister, said to the Holy Lord with contempt again. What? Do you want your junior brother to die of exhaustion? The position of the Holy Lord was passed down to you by the Master, so you just take it honestly, and be careful that Uncle Piao will come out and beat you. Isn't this just an analogy for my junior brother? As if thinking of Piao's iron fist, the Holy Lord Yaoguang scratched his head in dismay. In the hall, Sui Yuanfei, who was standing at the front, took a step forward, clenched his fists, and shouted with spiritual power, "Greetings to the Lord of Lingshao Palace." All the core disciples reacted and also said respectfully, "Greetings to the Lord of Lingshao Palace." The voice was so loud that the formation in the hall began to fluctuate. Seeing everyone respectfully clasping their fists to congratulate him, Zixiao had no choice but to bite the bullet and walk forward, saying softly, "Thank you all." Then he waved his sleeves, the spiritual power turned into a gentle breeze and helped all the disciples who saluted up. The eyes of tens of thousands of core disciples looking at Zixiao became even hotter. At the same time, tens of thousands of forces were divided to help them up. This is not something that can be done casually. The general distraction period probably does not have such a huge spiritual power to support it. The Holy Lord Yaoguang and a group of palace masters also looked at Zixiao with admiration. Only Zixiao himself could not help but feel regretful. If he wanted them to stand up and say something, why did he pretend so much? This time, most of his spiritual power was drained out. He had just broken through the fusion realm, and his cultivation was not stable. After using it like this, he almost fell to the ground, but now he has pretended, so he can only continue to pretend. Junior brother, this is your token. Yaoguang Saint Lord took out a token from his Qinquan ring and handed it to Zixiao. With this token, you can do whatever you want in my Yaoguang Holy Land. You can enter and exit the forbidden area and the place where the ancestors rest. They also want to see you. Thank you, senior brother. Zixiao took the token and felt more and more weird. Isn't this Yaoguang Holy Land too good to him? On the first day of joining, not only was he given the position of Hall Master, but he was also allowed to do whatever he wanted in the sect. Is it really a pie in the sky? Or is it that the damn heaven is in a good mood, so it gave him some sweetness? If it were an ordinary person, he would have been dazzled by this successive luck, but Zixiao still kept a clear and calm mind. Instead, he was thinking about whether there was any problem here. Seeing Zixiao's face, Yaoguang Holy Lord nodded again with satisfaction. In order to achieve immortality, in addition to cultivation and talent, the most important thing is to have a strong mind. Otherwise, even if you have an invincible talent, you will end up with nothing but a handful of dirt. Those who have achieved the Tao are all people with great perseverance and tenacity. I have never heard of a person with a frivolous character being able to achieve the Tao, and Zixiao, who is only 29 years old, has such a state of mind. He is indeed a real evildoer. The Supreme Elder has picked up a treasure this time. The Holy Lord Yaoguang sighed in his heart. By the way, junior brother, today is a rare day. You should preach to the disciples. Senior sister Lu suddenly said. This sentence made the other palace master's eyes light up. Yes. To put it bluntly, today is to introduce Zixiao's identity to the disciples and then to rectify his name. With Zixiao's strength, just preaching can benefit these disciples a lot. At that time, Zixiao will definitely win the hearts of these disciples. Preach? Zixiao pointed at himself, meaning to ask Saint Yaoguang to let him preach. Yes. Saint Yaoguang nodded heavily. He felt that this proposal was simply too good to let these disciples know how Zixiao, a genius, understood the word Tao. It was simply perfect. This. Senior brother, I won't show off my skills in front of you senior brothers and sisters. In fact, I don't know much about Tao. Zixiao smiled bitterly, he really didn't lie. As a villain, he would never be favored by the heaven. In this case, cultivating immortals was entirely due to chance. He broke through while cultivating. Whether it was the original demon body or the ancient double pupil, they were both extremely powerful and had the potential to become an emperor, so there was really no need to worry about cultivation, plus the burial heaven skill. It was completely the existence of the heaven-stealing luck, which led to Zixiao's strength improvement compared to ordinary peers. It was like riding a rocket, but the Holy Lord Yaoguang didn't think so. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was very proud of his father's kindness. In his opinion, Zixiao said this because he was too modest. After all, according to the news from Zui Yuanfei, Zixiao is definitely a person with excellent talent, character. Junior brother, I have also heard that you are humble, but we are all family, so you don't have to be too modest. The Holy Lord Yaoguang patted Zixiao on the shoulder and said earnestly, it's okay for young people to be a little arrogant. Senior brother, I understand. Before Zixiao finished speaking, senior sister Lu on the side suddenly interrupted. Zixiao looked at her in confusion. You understand? What do you understand? Senior sister Lu's eyes were slightly moist. Junior brother, during the years when he was misunderstood in Tianxian Holy Land, he must have been walking on thin ice every day, cautious, fearing that his behavior would cause misunderstanding again. Master, elders, no one stood up for junior brother. He should be so arrogant at this age, but he is so humble. As a saint, no one around him can understand. Junior brother, he has suffered so much these years, that when she was moved, 2 lines of tears slowly flowed from senior sister Lu's beautiful eyes. All the palace masters looked at Zixiao with pity, and even Saint Master Yaoguang sighed, as if he was afraid that he would shed tears at his age. All the core disciples who were close to him looked at Zixiao, and they all empathized at this moment. Put yourself in their shoes. If they were treated like this by Tianxian Holy Land, they would have turned to evil and found an opportunity to destroy the sect. After all, the news that came out said that Zixiao had been misunderstood by the sect for several years, killing and setting fires, bullying men and women. He was simply doing all kinds of evil. Junior master is so miserable. The son of destiny, Zui Yuanfei, widened his red eyes and stared at Zixiao. After experiencing so many hardships, he still maintained such a noble character. Junior master is really a role model for our generation. At this time, Zui Yuanfei was still furious. He personally thought that he and Zixiao hit it off at first sight, and he admired Zixiao's talent and character very much. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was an idol. Tianxian Holy Land. You are very good. The sect competition will be held soon. I will take good care of your disciples when the time comes. I heard that there is a guy named Lin Yi, who was the junior brother of junior master. As the closest person, it's okay that he doesn't trust junior master, but he even wants to compete for the position of the Holy Son. Very good. Let's see the truth by hand. At this time, Lin Yi, who was practicing in seclusion in Tianxian Holy Land, felt a chill. During this period of time, he planned to be in seclusion in order to win the championship directly in the sect competition. At that time, he would bring his senior brother back. What is this feeling? Second master, I feel a sense of malice, as if someone wants to plot against me. Can you feel it? Buzz, as Lin Yi whispered, the ring on his hand emitted a faint light, and a voice like a faint orchid in the valley sounded. You are a person favored by destiny, and your life has been full of misfortunes, so it is not too much for someone to have malice towards you. Just practice well. Only by becoming stronger can you resist any villains. I understand, second master. Lin Yi nodded and began to practice again. The origin of this ring is that because he missed his senior brother too much, when he was meditating on the cliff, a stream of light passed by, and then the ring fell on his head. Input spiritual power into the ring, and a fairy-like voice came from it. Young man, do you have a dream? Ahem. I see that you are a rare genius in cultivating immortals. It's up to you to maintain world peace. I have a secret book here. No, I want to take you as my apprentice. What do you think? that at first, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously. After all, he already had a master. As a result, when he came down from the cliff, he met a group of people who started fighting with him without saying a word, including a cultivator in the late stage of distraction. Lin Yi fought desperately and finally fell to the ground exhausted. If it weren't for the help of a fairy in a purple dress and a dreamy fairy in the ring, he would probably have died. In order to repay the life-saving grace, he became a disciple, but because since he already had Mo Yuxiang as his master, Lin Yi insisted on calling him the second master. What Lin Yi didn't know was that there was another world in the ring. This place was like a paradise, with a fairy sitting on a rocking chair, her feet swinging constantly. The child of destiny, great, I finally found the child of destiny. As long as I bind his luck, wouldn't I be able to take off directly? Sure enough, the routines in the novels are useful. It's worth it that I've read so many novels. The woman on the rocking chair ate fruit happily, looking forward to the future. In the Yaoguang Holy Land, the disciples at this time all sympathized with Zixiao, causing the atmosphere in the hall to become more and more heavy. Some people even started to change their taste during the discussion. What about pointing the sword at Tianxian Holy Land, seeking justice for the junior master? What about publicly denouncing Tianxian Holy Land, etc.? The spearheads are all directed at Tianxian Holy Land. If this trend is allowed to continue, it is estimated that it will not be long before the two sides have to fight. Zixiao was speechless in the face of such a scene. What are they thinking about? Have I started talking just now? At this time, Sister Lu came forward and hugged Zixiao into her arms. This was the second time that Zixiao was hugged by a woman after coming to Yaoguang Holy Land. Although Sister Lu was very knowledgeable, Zixiao had become bored after experiencing Master Piaomiao's murder weapon. He quickly broke free from her arms. Senior sister, and all the senior brothers, I am really fine. Although I was misunderstood in Tianxian Holy Land, I also think it was just my bad luck. I don't blame anyone for this. But Zixiao's explanation was obviously a forced smile in the eyes of everyone. The Holy Lord Yaoguang walked up to Zixiao and patted his shoulders again. Great! Junior brother, I've known that you have a high character for a long time. I didn't expect you to be so generous and repay evil with kindness. Junior brother, I am incompetent. As the leader of a sect, there are too many things to consider. I can't send troops directly to Tianxian Holy Land. After all, we are both righteous. I'm sorry to wrong you. I, the Holy Land Yaoguang, am sorry for you. The Holy Lord Yaoguang said this with tears in his eyes. It seems that if he is not the Holy Lord now, he will probably take Zixiao to fight against Tianxian Holy Land. Zixiao's eyes are dull, and he has completely given up. Say whatever you want, forget it, I'm tired, destroy it. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was very angry. If Piaomiao hadn't sent a spiritual force through the air to wake up the Holy Lord of Light, he would have made the wrong choice. Ahem. The Holy Lord of Light took advantage of the opportunity to cough and tidied his hair. Junior brother, let's discuss the matter of attacking the Tianxian Holy Land slowly. Why don't you tell us about it now? I think it's easy for a genius like you to tell us about it. Okay, I know you still need to be humble. We all understand. Just tell us directly. The Holy Lord of Light directly predicted Zixiao's prediction and blocked his retreat. Zixiao was also speechless. He wasn't pretending to be cool, the problem was that he really couldn't preach. Could he recite a passage from the Tao Te Ching like other time travelers? Let's not talk about whether it was useful or not, he couldn't even recite the entire Tao Te Ching. He only knew the first few sentences. If he was questioned, wouldn't he be embarrassed? Turning around and looking at the disciples who were looking forward to it, Zixiao knew that he couldn't hide, he really couldn't preach, but don't forget that he had a cheat, the huge medicinal power that he hadn't absorbed before could be used at this time. Thinking of this, Zixiao stood firm, his eyes gradually changed, and the ancient double pupils appeared in front of people again. Seeing those eyes, many disciples all took a breath of cold air. It must be said that the power brought by the double pupils was too strong. Buzz. After the ancient double pupils appeared, the black runes on Zixiao's body surrounded him again. Then, his eyes burst into a burst of light, and the light shot straight to the ceiling. Crack. There was a shattering sound, and the light from the double pupils directly penetrated the skylight in the hall. The Holy Lord Yaoguang quickly waved his sleeves to make the counterattack formation of the main hall disappear. Although he didn't know what Zixiao was doing, he thought it must be related to preaching. As a senior brother, he naturally had to cooperate. Boom. The ice blue light hit the sky, and the sky seemed to roar. The rolling calamity clouds covered the entire sky with the force of thunder. The avenue was in the sky, and 3,000 Tao rhymes flowed in the sky. Everyone seemed to hear the Sanskrit sound of the avenue, and it seemed that a powerful person was preaching in the clouds. Zizizizi. The golden light shattered the calamity clouds, and one golden figure after another appeared above the clouds. The phantom of the emperor in the middle looked at Zixiao with his illusory eyes. The golden beams collided with the ice blue beams, the world became chaotic. Whoosh whoosh, the strong wind suddenly swept in, and the roaring wind was like the weeping of ghosts and gods, making people's chi see disordered. But no matter whether it was the palace master or the tens of thousands of disciples, none of them showed a panic expression, but instead looked at this scene in amazement. Tianjiao can naturally trigger strange phenomena, but they have never seen such a sacred and strange phenomenon, and it seems that it has never appeared in the records of ancient books. At this time, the black runes on Zixiao's body also shot towards the sky. The 3,000 golden figures turned into pure black as if they were splashed with ink, and the figure of the emperor who dominated the world was also completely stained black. He was seen raising his two giant hands that covered the sky. It seemed that he was dragging something. Buzz. The black runes surrounded his hands, and after a while, the ancient and strange atmosphere filled the universe. A pure black coffin appeared in the hands of the emperor. Click, 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 the black coffin slowly opened. Unlike the strange black coffin, the opened black coffin actually burst out a colorful peaceful power from inside. This power was like leaking from the fairyland. It turned into raindrops that blessed all things and began to sprinkle on the entire Yaoguang Holy Land. Tick, tick, with the falling of raindrops, the Yaoguang Holy Land, which was originally a fairyland on earth, was shrouded in a colorful light, and many sacred objects in the spirit material garden were rejuvenated at this moment. All the strange beasts of the sect raised their heads and felt the rising vitality in their bodies. What is this? It's amazing. My previous hidden injury has healed. My mind seems to be clearer, and my body seems to be cleansed. My body is purer. Ha ha ha, I am practicing body training. Junior Master has given me such a great opportunity. Thank you, Junior Master. The disciples felt the changes in their bodies and all bowed to Zixiao on the high platform. Hiss. What kind of method is this? Yaoguang Saint also took a breath of cold air. He never thought that he just asked Zixiao to preach to these disciples, but he actually used such a method. You know, Yaoguang Holy Land has a very large area, and there are more than 1 million disciples and strange beasts. He just used his divine mind to sweep, and all the inner and outer disciples and strange beasts benefited. This method, even the Supreme has no one. How much price will be paid to improve so much vitality at the same time? Yaoguang Saint, who was still proud of Zixiao, was a little worried at this moment, but at this moment, the shadow of a grass suddenly appeared between Zixiao's eyebrows. The grass gradually rose into the air, and then Zixiao slowly went to the air, gently pinched the root of the grass with one hand, and casually drew it in the sky. Swish, a terrifying sword energy burst out, splitting the ceiling of the hall in two, and the entire sky seemed to be split in half. The might of the sword energy did not diminish, and it gathered together in the sky, forming a huge sword blade, piercing down towards the Yaoguang Holy Land. Buzz, the defense formation of the Yaoguang Holy Land was awakened, and the colorful light enveloped the entire Yaoguang Holy Land. In the ancestral land, one tomb after another exploded, and many terrifying strong men woke up. The giant sword that fell from the sky did not attack the defense formation of the Yaoguang Holy Land. Instead, when it was about to hit the formation, cracks began to appear on the sword body. Bang bang bang, the explosion sounded, and the giant sword began to break, and pieces of fragments emitting light fell down. These fragments passed through the defense formation and fell towards the disciples in the hall. Don't dodge. Just when some disciples were frightened and trying to escape, Yaoguang Saint Lord saw the problem and roared angrily. Hearing the Saint Lord's voice, those disciples were frightened, but they still calmed down and let the fragments fall on them, buzz buzz buzz. As the fragments fell, the breath of breakthrough began to burst out from the bodies of tens of thousands of disciples. I broke through. What's going on? I've been stuck in the middle stage of the golden core stage for how long, and now I've broken through. What was that grass just now? Little Master Uncle cut the sky with just one grass. When I saw the giant sword appear just now, I thought our Yaoguang holy land was going to be destroyed. I broke through too. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was so angry that he was beaten. I seem to have understood the way of the sword. Junior Master. You are my second parent. Me too, I have made a breakthrough in the way of the sword. It is said that Junior Master uses a knife. How come he has such insights in the way of the sword? A blade of grass cuts through the sky, this kind of talent. Tens of thousands of core disciples, at this time, looked at the figure in the air who looked like a banished immortal with burning eyes. As the son of destiny, Zui Yuanfei admired Zixiao sincerely at this time. Only such a person is worthy of being the disciple of Elder Piaomiao. Zixiao, no. Junior uncle, you will be my direction in the future. Saint Lord Yaoguang and a group of core palace masters all looked at the figure in the air with admiration. If before, I thought that junior brother had the potential to become an emperor, then now, I think junior brother definitely has the potential to become an immortal. Becoming an immortal. The path to immortality is so vague. If anyone can really break the shackles, it must be people like the Supreme Elder and junior brother, right? No. Senior brother, something seems wrong. Logically, junior brother has already given these disciples blessings, so he should come down. Why is he always floating in the air? What is that? At this moment, one of the palace masters shouted in horror. I saw that the black in the sky began to be gradually invaded by a mysterious force. Through the broken ceiling of the hall, it can be seen that one after another thunderbolts weaved a large net in the air. The large net shining with electric light enveloped all the strange phenomena that Zixiao had created. Hey! The blackened figure of the emperor roared at the higher sky, and then, holding the sky-covering black coffin, the figure of the emperor smashed towards the electric net. ZZ. But the electric net that appeared, and the mysterious power, even a cultivator in the saint realm felt a tremor in his heart, as if he was about to surrender to it. The heavenly Tao will not tolerate my junior master uncle. Zui Yuanfei's pupils shrank. He could feel the familiarity of the heavenly Tao power towards him, but if this kind of power wanted to attack his junior master uncle, then he would risk his life to help. Boom. Above the clouds, a roar sounded. Crack, crack, crack. It was clearly daytime, but the sky could see the stars, and one planet after another shone in the Milky Way. Then, there seemed to be a crack on the Milky Way. What is that? In the crack, a black and white intertwined finger suddenly appeared. The emperor's strange appearance that Zixiao had created was already a sky-covering existence, but something appeared in the crack of the Milky Way. Just one finger was even bigger than the emperor's strange appearance. Those planets were like rice in front of his fingers. We are in big trouble now. All the palace masters and elders, come with me to set up the Yaoguang formation. My junior brother must not be lost. Even if we have to fight with that damn heavenly Tao, we must protect my junior brother, that the holy lord of Yaoguang roared. He had already seen that the great terror that emerged from the cracks of the Milky Way was heading for their junior brother. After the roar, the holy lord of Yaoguang leaped into the air, spread his hands, and scattered spiritual power around the holy land of Yaoguang. Buzz buzz buzz. At the same time, thousands of figures also appeared beside the holy lord of Yaoguang. They followed the holy lord's way and spread all their spiritual power around. What happened? It seems that the holy lord and the palace master have all gone to stop the heavenly punishment. Heavenly punishment? Even the heaven cannot stand the talent of junior master. It's too scary. Let's hide. It seems that we can't participate in this. Hide your ass. After junior master came, he didn't hesitate to spend his own cultivation to help us break through. For this, he attracted heavenly punishment. If we don't help, what's the difference between us and beasts? The king of the country that if a scholar leads me, I will repay him with my countrymanship. This is what ordinary people often say. If I hide today, my heart will be unstable. That's right, for the sake of my junior uncle, I will fight this dog Tian Dao. That with someone taking the lead, tens of thousands of core disciples also released their spiritual power to the Yaoguang formation. Unlike those predecessors who often cross the tribulation and reach the saint realm, their realm is weak, but there are many people. In addition, all the disciples of the inner and outer gates have received the favor of Zixiao. Seeing Zixiao in trouble at this time, it would be strange if they didn't help. For a while, the colorful spiritual power inside the Yaoguang Holy Land burst out in all directions. At this time, Zixiao closed his eyes in mid-air. He was not pretending, but he really couldn't disperse his spiritual power to fall down. There seemed to be a strange breath in the sky that locked onto him tightly. This breath made Zixiao's hair stand on end, because he had felt this breath before. When he was in Tianxian Holy Land, he tried to change the plot about Lin Yi. It was the same at that time. This breath seemed to wipe him out. If it weren't for the price paid by the system at the time, he would have disappeared long ago. Boom. The roar in the sky continued. The man who looked like an emperor kept attacking the power grid with the black coffin in his hand, but he kept attacking the power grid. Finally, it failed to break it. The crack on the Milky Way was finally torn open. The giant hand intertwined with black and white stretched forward, and countless planets were completely and directly shattered. The road was wailing, and the space collapsed. The 10,000 demon realm, the Sirius star realm, the Yaoqi Holy Land, the Chilean city, etc. People in the nearby areas and star fields all felt this breath of destruction, and all the major sects and holy places set up their own defense formations. In the restricted area, whispers sounded. On the Taiga Divine Mountain, there was a demon monkey roaring forward. Ordinary casual cultivators were even more blind. Looking at the galaxy with godly eyes, they lost their fighting spirit in the face of the great terror. Chilean city was a ruin 2 days ago, but now it is extremely prosperous. Some strong men have rebuilt Chilean city with great means, but the ground in the center of the city began to crack again, and the creatures hidden under Chilean city seem to be waking up. The outside world is still like this, and the Yaoguang Holy Land, which is facing the Great Terror, is even more like the sky and the earth. Creaking, the protective formation made a harsh sound, and the space outside the formation continued to collapse. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was so angry that he was lying on the ground. In the ancestral land, graves exploded one after another. Ancient auras spread out, boom boom boom. As soon as these ancient auras revived, they rose from the ground and shot into the sky. Countless Tao rhymes flew across the sky. Although these ancestors didn't know what happened, they knew that the Yaoguang Holy Land was in crisis. Buzz, a Piao Miao in a white Taoist robe appeared beside Zixiao. Her eyebrows were slightly wrinkled, and her jade hand gently touched Zixiao's forehead, as if to check on him. Although she didn't know what happened to her disciple, she was relieved to see that he was fine. Then her beautiful eyes looked straight at the sky. You didn't allow me to find a chance to become an emperor, and now you want to attack my apprentice? You're simply courting death. After saying that, Piao Miao waved her Taoist robe lightly, and 3 streams of light shot out from Zixiao's body. If you look closely, you can see that these 3 streams of light are the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man. The 3 books came in front of Piao Miao and floated there quietly. Use the book of heaven to suppress the 9 heavens of the sky. Boom. The book of heaven turned into a light curtain and directly covered the sky. Use the book of earth to suppress the mountains, rivers and earth. Boom. The book of earth also turned into a stream of light and merged into the ground. The earth that was constantly breaking and shaking gradually became quiet. Only the book of man was left in Piao Miao's hand. Her Taoist robe rang loudly, and the whole person was even more out of this world. Use the book of man to suppress the destiny of the human race. As a cultivator, we should be like the sky. Boom. The book of man burst out with dazzling light, and a halo enveloped everyone's body. Then, the 3 books of heaven, earth and man linked together, and countless streams of light shot towards the sky. Those streams of light directly shattered the giant net of lightning, and then crashed into the Milky Way. Crack, crack, crack. the big hand in the Milky Way seemed to feel threatened. In the darkness, there seemed to be a pair of scarlet pupils looking at the Earth through the cracks. Then, the space collapsed more and more, and the cracks on the Milky Way continued to expand. The big hand that spanned the universe, crossed time and space, and covered this star field. The streams of light generated by the three books of heaven, earth and man hit the giant hand, making a sound like a broken planet, which shows how powerful it is. Even so, it only slowed down the giant hand. It did not really stop it. The star field where the Yaoguang Holy Land is located is even more overwhelmed, and the planets on the periphery are all beginning to collapse. The huge hand spans the universe, as if it wants to hold the entire Yaoguang Holy Land in its palm. There is no other way. We must ask for the first ancestor. The Holy Lord of Yaoguang gritted his teeth and looked at the giant hand above the sky, and shouted to the brothers around him. First ancestor, thought originally, several people wanted to say something, but when they saw the giant hand covering the starry sky, they all nodded solemnly. After that, several people took out their own tokens and put them together. The Tao can be said, but it is not the Tao, and the name can be named. Just as several people were taking action, the sound of chanting came from the sky again. Looking up, I don't know when, even the giant hand stopped moving. Zixiao in the air suddenly opened his eyes. Swish, 2 rays of calamity shot out from his eyes. If I don't come back, you will die here. Now you know the use of the system. A voice resounded in Zixiao's mind. Ding dong, system loading, villain system binding, get the mall function, get the sign-in function, get the task function, get the kill function. Accompanied by a burst of electronic sound, the former system actually appeared in Zixiao's mind again. Why are you back? Zixiao asked in confusion. Nonsense. If I didn't come back, wouldn't you have been crushed to ashes by that thing? What is that? Do you need to ask? You should have felt it, right? That is Tiandao. As the system answered, Zixiao fell silent. He should have guessed it long ago. This bastard Tiandao seemed to have never let him go and had been staring at him, but there was a question that puzzled him. System. You said that thing is the way of heaven. Yes, what is it? Question. Then what are you? Nonsense, I am your system. The way of heaven is a weird thing that is neither black nor white, and as a villain system, you appear and recite the Tao Te Ching. As a system, it is reasonable for me to know something about your blue planet, right? Besides, don't you think it is very cool? Okay, hurry up and solve the trouble outside. We have plenty of time to talk, and this time I came back. I brought you a gift. Gift? Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the immortal shield. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the immortal talisman. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 50 years of cultivation. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 boundary-breaking talismans. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the great method of transformation. Feeling the electronic sound in his mind and the things that appeared in the storage space, Zixiao was a little puzzled. Where is Panga's blood? To be honest, I don't agree that there is no Panga blood essence. You are a villain system, you can't play the middleman to make a profit, right? Are you bullying me because I haven't read the novel? Which villain doesn't have to get a can of Panga blood essence? What do you think Panga blood essence is? The system said unhappily, you take a can, he takes a can, it has been emptied long ago, okay? Okay, forget it if there is none. In fact, Zixiao was just joking. He immersed his mind on the last reward. He hua zi de fa, this thing is a good thing. It is said that it can transform all the powerful people from ancient times to the present. The immortal talisman is obviously the sacrifice prepared by the system for him, transforming immortals from ancient times to the present to fight against the heavenly Tao. It's a little exciting to think about it. Host, you have to hurry up, otherwise your cheap master will not be able to hold on. Hearing the system's words, Zixiao used his mind to feel the scene outside. At this time, Piao used all his spiritual power to continuously activate the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man to resist the invasion of the monster in the Milky Way. and the Holy Lord Yaoguang and others were burning their tokens with spiritual fire. The great method of transmutation is more like a skill than a practice. With sacrifices and the help of the system, Zixiao quickly comprehended it. After a while, Zixiao opened his eyes and formed seals with his hands. Transmutation is free. Om, in the spiritual platform, the immortal talisman flew out directly and stood in the sky. Zixiao's body also changed. The 3,000 avenues surrounded his body, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered towards him crazily. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The truth is that the power of transformation is to temporarily possess the Tao fruit of others. In other words, by using the immortal talisman that records the Tao rhyme of countless powerful people from ancient times to the present, Zixiao can communicate with them and borrow their power, use the borrowed power to fight against the heavenly Tao. This is the trump card prepared by the system for him. In the dark, Zixiao wandered in the void and saw one light ball after another. There were the Tao fruits of the powerful people in them. As long as they merged with them, the power would be in hand. Now time is urgent, and there is no time to carefully select. I think the powerful people recorded on this immortal talisman must be able to challenge the existence of the heavenly Tao. Zixiao walked towards one of the light balls, Emperor Baijian. As soon as he touched the light ball of the emperor, before he could merge his power, Zixiao's mind trembled and he withdrew directly from it. What's going on? That the system was silent for a moment and then slowly spoke. You seems to have been rejected. Rejected? Zixiao said in surprise. Can this thing reject me? They are the strongest people from ancient times to the present. Some are from the past, and some are from the outside. These extremely strong people can sense that you are intercepting power. Using great magical powers, they can of course reject you. Ahem, try someone else's. This Emperor Baijian is a future emperor. It is also possible that you did something, so he felt your breath and rejected you directly. Zixiao did not speak, but manipulated his mind to the next light ball, ancient red flame emperor. Bang! Zixiao's mind was ejected again. I don't believe it. Zixiao walked to the next light ball again and stretched out his hand. Taichu emperor. Bang! Tianjian emperor. Bang! Qing emperor. Bang! Jinpeng ancient emperor. Bang! In order to save time, Zixiao went to those light balls one by one, but was rejected by all of them. Those powerful people from ancient times would rather spend a huge price to cut off the cause and effect between Zixiao and them. Not to mention responding, they just punched him in the face. This time, even the system was speechless. After a moment, he said with difficulty, You, they, I. System, you didn't give me a fake, did you? I've read so many novels, and everyone uses this self-transformation method, which is simply easy to do. What does it mean that you all rejected me? Bullshit. Do you know how much I spent to get this thing? It must be the real thing. Think about yourself. What kind of abominable things did you do in the future that made so many powerful people refuse to have a cause and effect with you? The system was also very aggrieved. Couldn't he know whether the thing was real or not? He just wanted his host to survive. Why was it so difficult? This. I'll choose one last time. Zixiao came to one of the larger light balls and slowly threw out his divine thoughts. Buzz. At this moment, the dim space was completely illuminated, and the huge light ball burst into a dazzling light. The system said in shock, Is this Emperor Shitian? Don't touch his light ball. But it was obviously too late. Zixiao's divine consciousness had already merged into it. Emperor Shitian. These three words appeared in Zixiao's sea of consciousness, and then he seemed to see a man sitting on the throne, with the stars surrounding the man. 3,000 Tao rhyme surrendered to him. The man was wearing golden armor, and his face was shrouded by the Tao rhyme and could not be seen clearly. Zixiao's divine consciousness was in front of the man, and the man seemed to sense something and said, Is it you? Buzz buzz buzz. As soon as the man spoke, the whole world began to tremble violently. The sky collapsed, the earth sank, and the galaxy shattered. The man didn't care at all, but continued to speak. It seems that you are in big trouble. He has turned into me. I have to thank you for your enemy, and since you are here, I will try to block your future. After saying that, the man stretched out a big hand and grabbed the place where Zixiao's divine thoughts were. The man's big hand stretched forward very slowly, and a long river of time appeared around his palm. The power of time that he kept trying to stop the man, but even so, he grabbed Zixiao without hesitation, boom. Then, with a roar, the picture shattered, the real Zixiao frowned, blood spurted out of his mouth, and even cracks appeared on his body. This damn bastard! Emperor Shirtian, you really betrayed me, that the system roared, and then the electronic sound sounded, ding-dong, feeling that the host was attacked by cause and effect, the system forcibly blocked, blocking failed, blocking failed, blocking failed, blocking succeeded. After several consecutive failures, it finally succeeded, which also allowed Zixiao's body, which had begun to break, to gradually recover. System. Zixiao spoke faintly. You really can't blame me for this. The system said aggrievedly, I reminded you not to touch that light ball. That light ball originated from the past and is heading towards the future. You can't grasp it. Can I still use this Hwazazai, that since the light ball of Emperor Shirtian burst out with a terrifying light, all the light balls have been gradually extinguished. I don't know whether those extremely powerful people felt Zixiao's existence or were wiped out by Emperor Shirtian with great means, and all the light balls disappeared. The system was also dumbfounded. He had never encountered such a situation. Hwazazai, this time he is still free, all the light balls are gone. No. There is another one, that the system suddenly said with surprise, and saw that there was another light ball standing there in the dim space, and the size of the light ball was not weaker than Emperor Shirtian. It's just that because the light on it was a little dim, it didn't notice it before. Seeing that his master was about to give up, Zixiao gritted his teeth and rushed directly to the light ball. Let's try it out. Since I caused these things, I have to solve them myself. Buzz, Zixiao's mind began to merge with the light ball, and detailed information about the light ball appeared in his mind. The name in the light ball is Zixiao. In reality, the Holy Lord Yaoguang and the Palace Master surrounded the burning token as if they were having a bonfire party. The Holy Lord Yaoguang even twisted his body. If he hadn't been kicked by Palace Master Lu at the end, he would have let himself go. Pizu is still on his way. It's bad, I can't stand it anymore. Blood flowed from the corners of Piao-Miao's mouth. It added a little more beauty to her extraordinary face. Her supreme cultivation fully activated the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man, but the great terror in the Milky Way was too powerful. With one hand stretched out, the sky collapsed and the earth sank, everything ended, and all the planets in the Milky Way collapsed. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The dead body was buried, and the dead body was buried. Now, only the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man and the figure of the emperor holding the coffin in both hands are holding on, but it is obvious that they can't hold on for much longer. The ethereal spiritual power is about to reach the bottom, and the ink-like figure of the emperor is constantly fading. Now it can be said that everything is over. Sui Yuanfei, the son of destiny, stared fiercely at the figure in the Milky Way with bloodshot eyes. Before this, he felt that he could always survive in desperate situations and had an impressive talent because of the favor of heaven. It's true that the great terror in the Milky Way is an existence that others cannot look directly at or talk about, but he can feel the closeness. If that thing is the way of heaven, no matter how much it favors him, after today, it will be a fight to the death. If Junior Master is ill, what if it goes against the will of heaven? All the disciples and elders of Yaoguang Holy Land used up their last bit of strength to bless the formation. They did not have any resentment towards Zixiao in their hearts. Instead, they felt that it was Zixiao who paid a huge price to make Yaoguang Holy Land flourish, which was not allowed by the way of heaven. Has my Yaoguang Holy Land been cursed? We shouldn't be prosperous. You dog Tiandao, I'm going to fight you. Even if I die, I will escort my junior brother out. At worst, I can let him rebuild the Yaoguang Holy Land. That's right. You dog Tiandao, if I don't die today, I will poke a hole in you in the future. The Holy Lord and the others are already inviting the ancestor. Let's hold on a little longer. As long as the ancestor comes, why should we be afraid of the Tiandao? How is the junior uncle? Who of you has seen the junior uncle? Isn't he by the side of the supreme elder? I think the junior uncle, Look! The shouting of one of the disciples attracted everyone to look up in the air. At this time, Zixiao's eyes were closed, and the light was constantly flowing on his body. The spiritual energy in the Yaoguang Holy Land was gathering towards him. Behind him, there seemed to be a large piece of black air condensing into a figure. The figure grew bigger and bigger, and the emperor figure above the clouds also stopped his movements. The eyes that looked like mountains lowered their heads and looked at Zixiao. Zixiao, Piao Miao turned around and looked at his apprentice with some concern. The latter seemed to have not heard Piao Miao's words at all, and still kept his eyes closed. The great terror above the Milky Way also looked at Zixiao through the cracks, and the blood-red eyes showed a hint of human surprise. Between heaven and earth, a strong wind suddenly blew, and the mountains shook. A transparent river connecting the heaven and earth and the galaxy emerged beside Zixiao, and countless shadows flowed in the river. Boom boom boom. The roaring sound continued to be heard in the long river of time, and the ancient existence was constantly awakening. Pairs of eyes as big as stars were watching this long river of time leading to the past and the present. They were watching who caused the long river of time to emerge. The long river of time. Piao Miao narrowed her beautiful eyes. It is said that the battle between emperors will lead to the surging long river of time, and Zixiao is just a distraction. How could it cause the long river of time to emerge? What's more, Piao Miao's beautiful eyes stared directly at the long river of time. She was already in the supreme realm and could see the weirdness on it. In the past, present, and future, countless eyes stared directly at Zixiao, as if they wanted to see something from him, and those eyes were full of malice. Little guy, what happened to you? Boom! At this moment, a roar that resounded through the universe made everyone temporarily deaf. When he came back to his senses and looked at Zixiao, he found that at some point, a huge figure with his feet on the ground and his head in the sky appeared behind him. The figure was as black as ink, and it was impossible to tell who it was. Only Piao Miao raised his head slightly, looked at the face of the figure, and then looked at Zixiao. I always feel that the two are very similar. Roar! In the universe, the great terror roared. The sound penetrated the entire universe, causing countless nearby stars to explode, and hundreds of millions of lives completely disappeared in this explosion. Above the clouds, the emperor-like figure began to dissipate, and wisps of black mist merged into the figure behind Zixiao, making the figure more solid. Interesting. A frivolous voice came from the huge figure. Zixiao. At this time, he opened his eyes, and his ancient pupils were flowing with the Tao rhyme of life and death, staring at the great terror in the universe. You seem to be very nervous. Is it my turn now? ×2. Zixiao's voice overlapped with the voice of the black figure behind him. Is that my junior brother? Yaoguang Xingzhu, who was still around the bonfire below, widened his eyes. Piao Miao also came to the front of the crowd at this time and whispered, I don't know what taboo technique that little guy used to find his future self from the long river of time. The future him? So strong. Yaoguang Xingzhu opened his mouth too wide and drooled, and was kicked away by senior sister Lu next to him. Grand Elder, if my junior brother uses such a taboo technique, will it really not have any impact? I don't know either. Piao Miao shook his head and looked at the universe with worry. Shua, as the spiritual energy surged, Zixiao's figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he had already arrived in the universe. Everyone in the Yaoguang Holy Land raised their heads and looked into the vast universe. At this time, Zixiao stood face to face with the Great Terror. As he arrived in the universe, the black shadow behind Zixiao became larger and larger. The stars were like stones in front of the black shadow. The black coffin that the emperor had carried before had now floated above the figure's head. The black coffin spanned the universe, exuding a sense of decay and burial. Boom! In the universe, the stars shook. The majestic figure, with a black coffin hanging above his head, was entangled with the breath of time, as if it were the underworld described in history, with resentment soaring to the sky and ghosts crying and gods howling. This figure seemed to have come from the future. When he arrived in the present, his body and the black coffin were almost fused together, blasting and killing the ancient god creature that was like the way of heaven. With extreme domineering, with his hands and feet raised, he was like a sky emperor. and the black coffin was swung by his sleeves and smashed directly towards the ancient godlike creature. The aura carried by the black coffin was too amazing and too terrifying. The burial intention made the universe and the stars decay. When he raised his hand, the black mist was majestic, and the ancient godlike creature was fixed there and was directly bound. The ancient godlike creature stretched out the big hand covering the star field and slapped the black coffin fiercely. Boom. There was another loud noise, and the big hand covering the sky collided with the black coffin, and the long river of time was broken. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The burial intention on the black coffin directly rotted the ancient god's hand, revealing the Taoist bone inside that was constantly emitting a halo. The black coffin continued to move forward, and actually smashed straight into the crack in the galaxy. At the same time, Zixiao also rushed towards the crack. The figure behind him moved exactly the same as Zixiao, like the Dharma image of heaven and earth. When they arrived at the crack, there was a burst of fishy smell from inside, and there were creatures roaring wildly inside. Zixiao grinned, revealing his white teeth. I have a move that I got from signing in, but I have never used it. Now my spiritual power is just enough, you try it. After that, Zixiao pinched out a strange spell with both hands, and the heaven and earth behind him also pinched the spell at the same time. Monster! I can see at a glance that you are not human. Great and powerful dragon, Daluo spell, Prajna Buddha, world-honored Ksitigarbha. Prajna Bama boom. Flying dragon in the sky. Boom. In the universe, golden light shines, and streams of light continue to gather from all directions. The spiritual power in the stars gathers together to form the phantom of the ancient dragon. Roar. Accompanied by a roar like the ancient dragon, the universe began to shake wildly. At this moment, golden pillars suddenly appeared and stood in the universe, and there were golden chains intertwined. This was not made of real divine gold, but a manifestation of order and rules. The dragon came from the ancient times, and the order of this world does not allow it to appear. The chains bound the ancient dragon, but they could not completely stop it from moving forward, and the chains formed by the order also made a banging sound. Swish. At this moment, Zixiao waved his other hand casually, and the black coffin that had been smashed into the crack rushed out of the crack with a bloody smell. The coffin lid also slowly opened at this time. A stronger force of decay spread throughout the galaxy, and the chains formed by the order were corrupted at this moment. The shadow of the ancient dragon struggled casually and broke it. Then, accompanied by the dragon roar, the ancient dragon directly hit the arm of the ancient godlike creature. Boom. One after another black holes appeared in the crack, madly devouring everything around. Even the light was devoured. Zixiao stood there, staring at the crack in front of him with his ancient double pupils of a natural saint. From the previous duel, Zixiao had sensed the opponent's power. The way of heaven is ruthless. As the embodiment of order and rules, the way of heaven should not have any emotions, but Zixiao clearly felt resentment, anger and murderous intent from the ancient godlike creature. Even when he saw the black coffin, the thing showed a trace of fear. Is this still the way of heaven? Coupled with his suspicion of the system, Zixiao felt that things were getting more and more wrong. Crack, crack, crack. Just as Zixiao was still thinking, the crack in the galaxy made a harsh sound, and the crack continued to expand. The arm of the creature was actually smashed by the dragon shadow of the ancient dragon. The huge arm fell downwards, but before it hit the stars, it turned into a wisp of Tao rime to give back to the world. The area below where the Yaoguang Holy Land is located had previously been depleted of spiritual power because of Zixiao's use of the transformation of self. Now that it has received feedback, the spiritual veins have regained vitality, even better than before. That the Holy Lord of Yaoguang flew back from a distance. He was kicked away by Palace Master Lu just now, and it was hard for him to fly back. Seeing the surging spiritual energy of the Holy Land, he laughed out loud. Sure enough, my Yaoguang Holy Land will prosper in this world. Junior brother is our mascot. And he is a terrifying mascot. With junior brother in hand, the world is mine. What the hell is the way of heaven? Bang! Before he finished speaking, he was kicked away by another palace master. Even if our sect has decided to fight against the heavenly Tao, this kind of thing cannot be put on the table. Do you want us to become demons? The Holy Lord is too unreliable. If not, should we confine him? I think it's okay. He's just a tool anyway. Just treat him like a pig. At the same time, the burst of spiritual energy also allowed the disciples to continuously break through the realm. It is no exaggeration to say that if the 10 holy places are ranked only according to the average cultivation of the disciples, Yaoguang Holy Land will definitely be able to rush into the top 3, or even, the top spot can also be competed for, and these disciples thought that the current realm breakthrough was brought by Zixiao. One by one, they looked at the crack in the galaxy and laughed. It seems that this heaven is not invincible. In the universe, Zixiao looked at the pair of blood-red eyes in the crack and could clearly feel the other party's hatred, but for some reason, even though the crack was so big, it just wouldn't come out. At this moment, Zixiao found the problem. The black coffin above his head had opened a gap because it had just helped the dragon shadow of the ancient dragon break free from the shackles. In the gap, there was clearly a white jade hand. There was someone in the coffin. This was the first time Zixiao discovered what was in his black coffin, but he was not sure what the person in it was. There was no breath of life, and he couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman, or his cultivation level. Just looking at the hand, it was just a human hand. The heavenly Tao or the ancient god in the crack in front of him was also staring at the hand. Because of the hand in the black coffin, he was afraid to show up. At this moment, the heavenly Dharma behind Zixiao suddenly moved. The familiar voice sounded again. What? Are you scared and dare not come out? Where is your previous energy? You have to stand up. Hearing this tone and that frivolous voice, Zixiao was very upset. This person is clearly his future self. Even if he has the power to suppress the heavenly Tao in the future, will his personality still be so erratic? The creature in the crack did not speak, and the blood-red eyes that looked like the sun, moon, and stars became more and more angry. If you don't come out, then I will make sure you never come out again. After that, the heavenly Dharma behind Zixiao stretched out his hands. Boom. The decayed smell of the black coffin became more and more intense, and this decayed smell completely turned the all-consuming black hole into nothingness. The Dharma of heaven and earth slapped his hands forward. The black coffin also shot directly towards the crack. The black coffin hit the crack hard, and the ancient godlike creature inside cried out in pain. This is not over yet. The Dharma of heaven and earth continued to use the spell, and the spiritual power in the universe continued to gather. Order wanted to seal off this star field, but the chain formed by order was directly shattered as soon as it appeared. Boom 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 boom, continuous explosions sounded.